My dad forgot to hang up. I heard every word. She's a burden, he said, his voice cold and dismissive, as if I wasn't even there. You find out tomorrow. The words cut through me, even though I wasn't supposed to be listening. Find out tomorrow. I stayed quiet, frozen, my phone pressed to my ear as I tried to make sense of what I had just overheard. Tomorrow. If that moment shifted something deep inside me. It was like a spark ignited, and I felt a rush of emotions I'd kept locked away for years. Hurt, anger. I didn't respond, I didn't confront him, I couldn't. Instead, I did what I always do when things get too heavy. I made a decision. I sold my house, my big, Yanro, beautiful to 80,000 home, and transferred everything into my name. I walked away. Gone. I didn't tell anyone, I just vanished. You'll find out tomorrow. A few weeks later, they came back from Europe, smiling, their carefree demeanor enough to make my stomach turn. They expected things to be the same. They threw open the front door, they were met with nothing but silence. The key didn't fit. The house. Empty, the note. A surprise. But yes, a burden did this. I wrote. I left it on the kitchen counter where they'd find it. You'll find out tomorrow. I wanted them to know that I was no longer the person they thought I was. No longer the burden. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know if they'd even try to find me. But that was the point. You'll find out tomorrow. I was finally free, finally taking control of my own life. Or at least that's what I tried to tell myself. But that's not how this story ends. You'll find out tomorrow. Then just beginning. The decision was made. I didn't tell anyone, not even Jessica, not at first. I just moved. Punawd. I packed up what little I had left and transferred everything. The house was sold. All of it. I couldn't stay in that place anymore. For Martino Adim, not after hearing those words. She's a burden. I couldn't breathe in that space without feeling like I was choking on them. Tomorrow. I rented a small apartment, nothing extravagant, just a place to exist, a place to hide. It was nothing like the house I'd owned, but it was mine. You'll find out tomorrow. I tried to focus on that. I tried to tell myself that I was free, that I was strong for making the choice, for walking away. You'll find out tomorrow. But even in this new, quiet space, it felt like my father's voice echoed in my head, like a constant reminder of everything I'd lost. Tomorrow. The first few days were a blur. I barely slept, my mind spinning with everything I'd just done. The relief I thought I'd feel didn't come. You'll find out tomorrow. Instead, there was a strange emptiness. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was still running, that nothing had really changed. Then Jessica called. Amaro. I hadn't told her what I was doing. I just left. She could hear it in my voice when I picked up. Vanessa, where are you? I am, she asked, her tone immediately concerned. I'm fine, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, though I felt anything but. Just needed a change. You sold the house, didn't you? I didn't answer, and she didn't need me to. She already knew. Are you okay? Tomorrow, she asked softly, like she was afraid I might break if she spoke too loudly. I don't know, I admitted. I wanted to tell her everything. But I couldn't. Not yet. Not when it felt like my own life was slipping away from me. I'm coming over, she said. We'll talk. You'll find out tomorrow. She didn't ask for details, and for some reason that made me feel better. Jessica wasn't one for pushing when I wasn't ready. You'll find out tomorrow. She showed up an hour later, bringing coffee and her usual energy, trying to fill the silence with chatter, but I could tell something was off. I could see the concern in her eyes, but she didn't push, she just sat with me. So, you're really gone, huh? She said, from Mao. Finally breaking the silence. I nodded, looking around the small apartment. Yeah, I had to leave. I had to do something. She didn't ask what exactly. You'll find out tomorrow. She just let me speak when I was ready. The quiet between us wasn't uncomfortable, but it was loaded with unspoken things. You'll find out tomorrow. It felt like she was waiting for me to let it all out, but I wasn't ready. I couldn't be. I wasn't sure I even knew where to start. You'll find out tomorrow. After a long pause, Jessica finally spoke again, her voice softer this time. You don't have to do this alone, you know. You'll she'll find out tomorrow. I wanted to tell her that I had to, that this was something I needed to figure out by myself, but something in her tone made me pause. She wasn't asking me to explain myself. She wanted to she was offering me a lifeline, even if I didn't know how to reach for it. I know, I whispered, looking away. You'll find out tomorrow. I la trying to hold back the wave of emotions I felt threatening to spill over. I wasn't ready to break down yet. Not in front of her. I'll find out tomorrow. Not when I still hadn't figured out how to make sense of what my father had said. How to make sense of everything I had lost. You'll find out tomorrow. But for the first time since I made the decision, I felt a flicker of something inside me, something I couldn't name yet. Maybe it was hope, maybe it was fear. But I felt it. You'll find out tomorrow. And that in itself was enough to make me wonder if maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought. And maybe, just maybe, I could learn to accept that help. You'll find out tomorrow. The days after I moved into the new apartment felt like they blended together, one long blurry stretch of time. You'll find out tomorrow. I tried to focus on getting settled, on finding some sense of normalcy in the chaos I had created. But nothing felt normal anymore. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was still running, still hiding. You'll find out tomorrow. Every little sound, the hum of the refrigerator, the buzz of traffic outside, seemed too loud in the silence I had surrounded myself with. Tomorrow. It wasn't like the house, with its familiar creaks and quiet comfort. This place felt temporary, like I was just waiting for the next moment to fall apart. Tomorrow. At night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my thoughts racing. I'd sold everything. My life had been reduced to a few boxes of clothes. You'll find out tomorrow. An old couch and a few framed photos. That's all that was left of the life I used to know. Tomorrow. I'd walked away from my family, from everything, and yet I still couldn't escape their voices in my head. The first few days, I'm warning you. I didn't even hear from my father. I didn't expect to. After what I'd done, after how I'd left, I assumed he'd write me off completely. Find out tomorrow. But then, a week later, the first message came. It was a simple text, but the sting of it hit harder than I thought it would. Where are you? Call me. You'll find out tomorrow. That was it. Just those 6 words. I stared at the screen for a long time, trying to figure out what to do with it. Out tomorrow, I tell. A part of me wanted to ignore it, to leave him in the past, but another part of me felt like I needed to respond. Like maybe, just maybe, find out tomorrow. If I explained everything, we could fix this. I didn't reply immediately. I couldn't. Find out tomorrow. Instead, I tossed my phone on the table and walked away from it, needing a moment to breathe. It wasn't until later that night, she replied out, tomorrow. When I was sitting on the floor with a glass of wine that I finally typed a response. I didn't know what I expected. Some part of me hoped he'd understand, but I knew better. It wasn't that easy. I'm fine, I wrote. I don't need anything. Peach. I hit send and immediately regretted it. But it was too late. I'd said my piece. The next few days passed in a strange limbo. My phone stayed quiet after that one text. You'll find out tomorrow. I focused on work, trying to distract myself from the nagging emptiness inside me. Jessica checked in daily, which was a small comfort. You'll find out tomorrow. I hadn't told her everything, but she knew enough to worry. She kept reminding me that I didn't have to go through this alone. Tomorrow. But I couldn't make myself believe it. I was used to being on my own, to handling things by myself. One afternoon, I ran into Marcus. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't by chance I knew he worked in the area, but seeing him brought a familiar wave of calm, followed by a sense of guilt. Tomorrow. I hadn't seen him in years, not since the last time I saw him at one of those family events where I pretended everything was fine. Vanessa, he said, a small smile playing on his lips. Different. Good different? I smiled back, though it didn't quite reach my eyes. I'm doing okay. Just figuring things out. We talked for a few minutes, catching up on small things, work life. I noticed how he kept glancing at me, tomorrow, like he was waiting for me to say something more, but I didn't. I couldn't. I've been thinking about you, Marcus said, as if reading my mind. Out tomorrow. I know you're going through something. You don't have to pretend with me. I looked at him. You'll find out tomorrow. He's surprised by how well he seemed to see through the facade I had built. It made me want to run, to bury myself in the safe silence of my apartment, away from anyone who could really see me. I'm fine, I said, the words sounding hollow even to me. He didn't push, but the look on his face told me he didn't believe me. All right, he said, his voice softening. But if you ever want to talk, I'm here. I nodded, feeling a lump form in my throat. I didn't know if I was ready for that. You'll find out tomorrow. But the offer was enough to make me realize that maybe, just maybe, I didn't have to do this alone. Maybe there was still room for connection. Tomorrow, even in the midst of all this mess. That night, I finally called Jessica. I'm not okay, I admitted. I know, she replied, her voice filled with understanding. But you're gonna be. We'll get through this together. You'll find out tomorrow. And for the first time in a long time, I actually believed her. It had been a few weeks since I made the choice to walk away. To break ties with everything I knew. You'll find out tomorrow. But even as I settled into this new life, this new place that was supposed to feel like freedom, you'll find out tomorrow. I still felt the weight of my father's words pressing down on me. I didn't know how to escape them, or even if I could. You'll find out tomorrow. I spent a lot of my time thinking about the past, about everything that had led me to this point. I replayed moments in my head, my childhood, the find out tomorrow, the fights, the silent treatments, the times I had tried to be seen, only to be dismissed. My father's voice was always the loudest. She's a burden. Find out tomorrow. He said it so easily, so casually, like I didn't matter, like I was just something in the way of his perfect life. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't stop the memories from flooding in. I remembered the times I'd tried to prove myself to earn his approval. Every effort I made felt like it fell short. You find out tomorrow. No matter how hard I tried, I was always seen as a disappointment. And now, even in this new chapter of my life, the kauateaunda, tomorrow eyes, I couldn't seem to shake that feeling. The quiet of the apartment was deafening. It wasn't the peaceful kind of quiet I had hoped for. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. It was the kind that filled up with thoughts that I couldn't escape. I'd always been good at ignoring my emotions, at pushing them down, but now, you'll find out tomorrow. With no distractions, everything felt magnified. The loneliness, the regret, the deep sense of failure. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. You'll find out tomorrow. I needed to confront what I had been avoiding, to face the pain and the hurt that had built up over all these years. But how could I do that? I'll fight on tomorrow. How could I confront the father who had made me feel like I didn't matter? That night, I sat in the stillness of my apartment, staring at my phone. My father had texted again. We need to talk. It said that was all. It was the same text as before, short and simple. You'll find out tomorrow. It was almost like he didn't care, like he expected me to drop everything and come running back. Just because he had decided it was time for us to talk. Tomorrow. I gripped the phone, my heart pounding. I knew what I should do, ignore it, block him out completely. But part of me, Shira Primaro, the part that was still seeking his approval, wanted to answer. I wanted to tell him everything I had been thinking, everything I had been feeling. I wanted him to understand. Tomorrow. I couldn't. Not yet. Instead, I put the phone down, the weight of my decision pressing on my chest. I wasn't ready to face him. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't ready to let myself feel the way he had made me feel for all those years. The next day, Jessica came over again. She didn't ask about the text tonight. She'll find out tomorrow. She didn't push for details. She just sat with me, bringing the kind of calm that I didn't realize I needed. You're still carrying it, aren't you? Tomorrow. She asked, her voice gentle. I didn't need to ask what she meant. I don't know how to stop, I said, the words spilling out before I could stop them. You'll find out tomorrow. I know. She replied, her tone soft but firm. But you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to carry it all yourself anymore. Guaj, you'll find out tomorrow. It was strange to hear her say that, strange to hear her offer me something I had never allowed myself to take, tomorrow. But as much as I wanted to push it away, I couldn't. She was right. I had been carrying it alone for so long. Maybe it was time to let go. I didn't know if I could forgive my father. I didn't know if I even wanted to. But maybe I didn't need his forgiveness to move forward. You replied, "You find out tomorrow." Maybe I just needed to stop believing that his approval was what would make me whole. And so, for the first time, I made a decision. She'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't going to wait for him to come to me. I wasn't going to keep living my life in the shadow of his words. She'll find out tomorrow. I was going to face the truth, even if it meant confronting the past I had spent so long running from. I was going to do it on my terms. It was time to stop hiding. Time to let myself feel everything I had been denying. Time to stop pretending that I wasn't broken. You'll find out tomorrow.
Oh,
Because maybe, just maybe, breaking wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning of something new. The weeks dragged on. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." But I couldn't shake the feeling that everything was building to something. I hadn't spoken to my father since that last text exchange. "You'll find out tomorrow." He hadn't tried to reach me again, and in a way that was worse than anything he could have said. Like, "You'll find out tomorrow." The silence between us felt like it was suffocating me, like I was still caught in his shadow, even if he wasn't physically there. "You'll find out tomorrow." I tried to focus on moving forward, on carving out some kind of peace in my life. I started going to therapy, something I put off for years. "She'll find out tomorrow." At first, it felt like a waste of time. I wasn't sure how talking about my feelings could change anything. "You'll find out tomorrow." But as the sessions went on, I realized how much of my pain I had been carrying alone. "You'll find out tomorrow." How much of it had been tied to the way my father had treated me. I spent hours thinking about what I had lost, what I had given up to try and gain his approval. "You'll find out tomorrow." I had done everything I could to be the daughter he wanted, but it was never enough. I had been trying to fill a hole that could never be filled. She might end out tomorrow. I than everything, yet, despite the years of feeling invisible, of being nothing but a burden to him, I was still here. Still fighting. She would out tomorrow. I still trying to find my place in a world that had always seemed so determined to make me feel small. One morning, I woke up to a text from Jessica. "I'm coming over." It read, "We need to talk." I wasn't sure what she meant by that, but I didn't question it. "You'll find out tomorrow." She showed up an hour later, and as soon as she walked through the door, I knew something was different. There was a look in her eyes, something heavy that she was trying to hide. "I talked to him," she said, sitting down across from me. "Your dad. He wants to meet." The words hit me like a punch. "Find out tomorrow." My heart started pounding, and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. My father. After all this time, after everything that had happened, he wanted to meet. "I'm not sure I'm ready for that," I said, my voice shaky. Jessica nodded, her expression soft. "I get it, tomorrow. But I think you need to hear him out." "You'll find out. For you, not for him." I shook my head. I wasn't ready to face him. Not after everything he'd said, not after how he'd made me feel. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered, feeling the weight of it all pressing down on me. "You don't have to do it alone," she said gently. You'll find out alone in this, and whatever happens, I'll be here, okay?" I wanted to believe her. "Want to find out, you'll find out tomorrow." I wanted to believe that maybe this could be the beginning of something better, that maybe this conversation would give me the closure I needed. But the fear that gripped me, the fear of seeing him again, of facing the man who had made me feel like I wasn't enough, was overwhelming. "You'll find out tomorrow. I'll think about it," I said, my voice barely a whisper. Jessica stood up and walked over to me, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Take your time," she said. "Tomorrow. But when you're ready, you have to face him. You have to face all of it." I didn't know if I was ready. But I knew that one day I would have to. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about me. 1 inch. Tomorrow. About taking control of my own life, my own story, and not letting his voice be the one that defined me anymore. Later that night, after Jessica left, I found myself staring at the text again. "We need to talk." It felt like a weight I couldn't ignore. Tomorrow. I I couldn't keep hiding from him, not if I ever wanted to move on. I had spent my whole life trying to be what he wanted, trying to earn his approval. You'll find out tomorrow. But that wasn't who I was anymore. I had to face him, not for his sake but for mine. We'll find out tomorrow. I had to stop letting his words control my life, had to stop letting the past keep me from moving forward. And so I made the decision. You'll find out tomorrow. The decision I had been avoiding for so long. I was going to meet him. I didn't know what would come out of it, but I knew it was time. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. Time to face the man who had shaped so much of who I was, and to finally take back the pieces of myself I had left behind in the process. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't sure if I was ready, but I knew I had no other choice. This was my story, and I was going to finish it on my own terms. The day finally arrived. You'll find out tomorrow. I had been putting it off for weeks, the thought of facing my father too overwhelming, too terrifying. But there was no more running from it. No more hiding behind my walls. I had told myself over and over that I was ready. You'll find out tomorrow. That I could walk into that room and finally get the closure I needed. Tomorrow. But as I stood in front of his house, staring at the door that had been a symbol of everything I'd been trying to escape, you'll find out tomorrow. I realized I wasn't as prepared as I thought. I had driven here not knowing exactly what I would say, not knowing what I was hoping to hear from him. To find out tomorrow. And all I knew was that I didn't keep avoiding him. I had spent too many years letting his words control my life. She replied, and if I ever wanted to truly move forward, I had to face him. I rang the doorbell. You'll find out tomorrow. My heart beating so loud in my chest it felt like it would drown out everything else. Tomorrow. It wasn't just the weight of the past pressing down on me. It was the unknown. What would happen next? Would he try to control the conversation? Tomorrow. Would he finally acknowledge pain he had caused me? The door opened, and there he stood. My father. You'll find out tomorrow. The older now, but still carrying the same stern expression, the same sense of authority that had always made me feel small. For a moment I froze. Everything I had practiced saying, everything I had prepared for this moment, vanished in the face of him. Vanessa, he said, his voice flat. You finally decided to show up. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak just yet. The words felt too big, too heavy. Instead, I stepped inside, replied. The familiar smell of the house washing over me, clean, sterile, like nothing had changed. The memories hit me all at once, uninvited. You also replied, you'll find out tomorrow. The times I had sat in this very room hoping he would acknowledge me, hoping he would love me the way I needed him to. You've made your point, he continued, his voice still lacking the warmth I had always wanted from him. Tomorrow. But I think we need to talk about what's happened. You'll find out tomorrow. I sat down on the couch, trying to steady my breathing, trying to control the flood of emotions that threatened to overtake me. You'll find out tomorrow. I had spent so many years trying to prove I wasn't a burden. I had spent so many years trying to gain his approval. You'll find out tomorrow's. Henry, and now here we were, in this moment where I had to face the reality of it all. I don't need your approval anymore. I finally said, tomorrow. The words coming out stronger than I felt. I don't need you to tell me who I am or what I'm worth. He blinked, his brow furrowing. You'll find out tomorrow. And I saw a flicker of surprise, like he hadn't expected me to speak like this, to stand up for myself. What are you saying? He asked. Tomorrow. His tone still condescending. I'm saying that I'm done trying to be what you want me to be. I replied, my voice quieter now. You'll find out tomorrow. I've spent my whole life trying to fit into your mold, trying to be the daughter you wanted. But I can't do that anymore. He leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed. You've always been dramatic, Vanessa, he said, his voice laced with disdain. Cool. This is just another one of your phases. You'll find out tomorrow. I felt the old sting of his words, the familiar taste of rejection. But this time it didn't break me, it didn't crumble me into the small, scared girl I used to be. No, I said, standing up, my hands shaking. This isn't a phase. This is me finally taking control of my life. You'll find out tomorrow. I'm not going to let you define me anymore. I'm not going to let you call me a burden anymore. There was a long pause. You'll find out tomorrow. A silence that stretched out between us, thick with all the things we hadn't said over the years. My heart was racing, but I held my ground. For once, I wasn't going to let him push me back into the corner. I don't need you to love me, Dad. I whispered. You'll find out tomorrow. The words tasting bitter in my mouth. I just need you to stop trying to make me feel like I'm nothing. For the first time, I saw something shift in his expression. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't much, just a flicker of recognition, of understanding that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the same person I used to be. But it was enough. Don't know what you want from me, he said, his voice softer now. I don't know how to fix this. Tomorrow. I felt my shoulders sag, the weight of everything I had carried finally beginning to lift. I'm not asking you to fix it, I said. She chewed out, tomorrow. I'm asking you to see me for who I am, not for who you want me to be. There was silence again, but this time it wasn't as heavy. She parted. It was more like a pause, a space between us where something new could grow. I'm sorry, he said after a moment, his voice barely audible. You'll find out tomorrow. I've always expected more from you. And for the first time, I realized that wasn't my burden to carry anymore. I wasn't responsible for his expectations. Tomorrow. I wasn't responsible for his mistakes. I don't need you to apologize, I said, turning toward the door. I just need you to let me go. Let me be who I am. As I stepped out into the cold air, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. It wasn't the kind of resolution I'd imagined, but it was enough. I had faced him, I had faced the past, the hurt, the expectations, and I had walked away with something more important, my own freedom. I wasn't broken anymore, I wasn't a burden. And that was all that mattered. The days that followed my conversation with my father felt different. Replied, you'll find out tomorrow. Lighter, almost, but still heavy with everything that had been said, everything that had been left unsaid. I had expected to feel a sense of finality. You'll find out tomorrow. A sense of closure. But instead, there was an unsettling quiet that hung in the air. I find out tomorrow. The kind of quiet that comes with change that's too fresh to fully understand yet. I spent the next few days in a sort of daze. She'll find out tomorrow. Trying to adjust to the shift in my life. I had expected everything to feel new and freeing, but there was an ache in my chest that wouldn't go away. You'll find out tomorrow. For the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to feel it, to sit with the discomfort instead of pushing it away. You'll find out tomorrow. I reached out to Jessica more frequently, though I didn't always know what to say. You'll find out tomorrow. We talked about everything and nothing, work, friends, the simple stuff that had kept us connected for so many years. But beneath it all, you'll find out tomorrow. I could feel a new layer forming between us. Something deeper, something we both knew but didn't speak. You'll find out tomorrow. One afternoon I sat in the quiet of my apartment, the hum of the city outside a soft background noise. I thought about how much had changed in such a short time. How many years I had spent avoiding my past, avoiding my feelings, avoiding my father's shadow. You'll find out tomorrow. I had thought that running from it would keep me safe, but in the end all it did was keep me small. Tomorrow, I thought about the future, about where I was headed now that I had taken this first step. The truth was, I didn't know. And that terrified me. But it also felt strangely liberating. She'd find out tomorrow. I realized that I no longer needed to have all the answers. I didn't need to know exactly what the next step looked like. For the first time, you'll find out tomorrow. I could simply exist in the present without worrying about the past or the future. The phone rang, pulling me out of my thoughts. You'll find out tomorrow. I glanced at the screens, expecting it to be Jessica. Instead, it was a number I didn't recognize. My heart skipped a beat. Tomorrow. I hesitated for a moment before answering. Hello. There was a pause on the other end and then a familiar voice. Vanessa. It was my father. You'll find out tomorrow. For a moment I didn't know what to say. My mind raced, the words I had prepared for this moment all vanishing in an instant. Tomorrow. I didn't think you'd call. I said, my voice softer than I intended. I've been thinking. he began, and I could hear the hesitation in his tone. About what you said. I held my breath. I wasn't sure if I was ready for this. But I didn't hang up. I stayed quiet, waiting. I realize you'll find out tomorrow. I've been hard on you, he said, and for the first time, there was a softness to his words that I had never heard before. Maybe I've done more harm than good. I didn't mean to. Can find out tomorrow. I felt the weight of his words settle over me. It wasn't an apology, not fully. But it was something. Something I never thought I'd hear. I don't know how to fix everything, he continued, his voice breaking slightly. But I want to try, if you're willing. You find out tomorrow. I was silent for a long time, the world around me spinning as I processed his words. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't everything I had wanted. But it was a start. I'm not sure where this goes from here, I said, my voice steadier now. But I'm willing to try too. The cold. The line went quiet for a moment, and then he spoke again. I know I've made mistakes, Vanessa. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. Tomorrow. But I want to work on this. I felt something in me shift. A tightness that had been there for so long seemed to loosen, just a little. You'll find out. Oh. It wasn't a sudden healing, but it was a step. A small step, but one that meant more than anything else. We'll take it one day at a time, I said softly. That's all we can do. And for the first time, I truly believed it. We didn't need to fix everything in one conversation. Tomorrow, we didn't need to erase all the years of pain in one go. But we could start over, slowly, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find out tomorrow. Build something new from the ashes of everything that had come before. I hung up the phone and sat there for a while. You're feeling the weight of the conversation settle in. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning of a new chapter, and maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late to find peace. You'll find out tomorrow. It's strange how quiet things become when you finally decide to let go of the weight you've been carrying for so long. You'll find out tomorrow. In the weeks that followed, I felt a sense of peace settling over me. It wasn't the kind of peace that comes in an instant. You'll find out tomorrow. But rather the kind that builds slowly, like the soft warmth of the sun after a long, cold winter. My father and I had started talking more, though not often. Full to find out tomorrow. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The walls between us were starting to crack, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe again. You'll find out tomorrow. I still didn't know what the future held for us, or for me. I didn't have all the answers, and that was okay. You'll find out tomorrow. For once, I didn't feel the need to have everything figured out. I was learning to embrace the uncertainty, to take things one day at a time. You find out tomorrow's. Just as I had told him. And that was enough. I spent more time with Jessica, letting her in more than I ever had before. You'll find out tomorrow. We talked about everything, our hopes, our fears, the mistakes we had made, and the ones we were still afraid of making. You'll find out tomorrow. There was a comfort in knowing that, even when everything else felt uncertain, I had her by my side. She didn't expect me to be perfect. Find out tomorrow. Yeah. She didn't expect me to have it all together. She simply showed up when I needed her, and that was all I could ever ask for. One evening, I sat in my apartment, the evening light casting long shadows across the floor. I thought about how far I had come, how much I had changed in such a short time. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't the same person who had walked out of my father's house all those weeks ago. That person had been scared, unsure, and broken. But now, I felt to find out tomorrow. It felt like I was finally putting the pieces back together. The phone buzzed on the table, pulling me out of my thoughts. It was a message from my father. I opened it slowly, not knowing what to expect. I'm proud of you, it read. I know I haven't said it, but I am. I stared at the words. Tomorrow, feeling something shift inside me. I had waited so long for him to say those words. You'll find out how tomorrow. But now that they were here, they didn't feel like the validation I had always hoped for. Instead, they felt like the final piece of the puzzle. You'll find out tomorrow. The moment I realized I no longer needed his approval to be whole. I had found my own strength, my own peace. Without him, you'll find out tomorrow. I set the phone down and looked the window, watching as the sun dipped below the horizon. The city was quiet now. Well, you'll find out tomorrow. The noise of the day giving way to the stillness of the night. I wasn't afraid of the quiet anymore. I wasn't afraid of the unknown. You'll find out tomorrow. For the first time in my life, I was with not having all the answers. I wasn't the daughter he wanted. Tomorrow, I wasn't the person I had spent so many years trying to be. But I was enough, just as I was. And that was something I could live with. I closed my eyes, letting the calm wash over me. You'll find out tomorrow. The journey wasn't over, but it had shifted. It was no longer about finding someone else's approval or chasing after a life that wasn't mine. Find out tomorrow. It was about building a life that felt true to me. A life where I didn't have to prove anything to anyone. Out tomorrow. And as the night deepened, I finally let go of the past completely. I was free. I was free to be who I truly was, and that was all I ever needed.